Oh, this here is a little talk called Holding the Devil Accountable. Yeah, right. For 1,000,000 years of crimes against humanity, he's always seemed to get out, somehow to get out scotch clean. All the nice people had to be treated mean. Holding the devil accountable. Looking through history, getting visions of the future, taking a very honest, stark glimpse of the state of the world now. It can easily become perceptually unbearable. All of the bloodshed wars, SRA and Quipaloth covenants to destruction, even with the openly despicable overt con called the revelation of the method. Will the beings responsible for destroying and repurposing this planet, this place, into the full onslaught of a full spectrum hell realm energy extraction matrix ever be held liable or responsible for their deeds? Will the devil ever be held responsible? How could he be if he designed the matrix for I and not thee? Supposing Lisa Renee's channeled history is relatively accurate, the extensive mind control and slavery programs began long ago on Atlantis with the first inverted secret society group she called the Brotherhood of the Snakes, which of course apparently morphed into the secret controller clubs we all know and have to put up with. How far back into his bloody story does the Hegelian dialectic go? As long as we've obeyed the salvation solution proposed by those who caused the loosh harvesting problem to begin with, especially salvationism, humans get further and further entrenched into the violence-based Luciferic duality system of the Helite few masters and the horde of unwashed human farm animals, soldiers, slaves, and prisoners. According to John Lash, in his book Not in His Image, which I'm working on checking out, the Jewish Zadokite militant leader had to be turned into the pacifist, shamanic, gentle Jesus to convince the Gentiles to get on their knees and obey the first world hijacking Hegelian dialectic? Question mark. I'm sure it began before that. From the resultant coercive conquest and war-based wholesale ultimatum-based theft, of all of Europe and then all of the Americas. The sixth story was always about succeedingly open devil worshippers. Through every generation, they became more and more open till as Lisa Renee, and another reference to her, she calls it the mainstreaming of Satanism. Now we have things such as the guy coming on Tucker Carlson and saying that twice a month he invites the second graders in his school district in Chicago to have a free class on healthy Satanism. So So the devil worshippers taking over and repurposing everything here they could. You know, instead of having the original operating system and then the new one forced, we see that what George Carlin called the big club that you're not in is ultimately like another different alternative psychotic reality of control. And so it seems that they tend to try to operate on the original operating system while forcing everyone else to operate on the number two. And so that everything here, this is the plan, the 2030 agenda. Everything here, all of the lands, all of our bodies had to be rendered unaware loosh dolls for our psychopathic off-planet controller E.T. Junior Demi-Ergos false self-gods who, are jealous and told us they're the one and only. And am I silly, delusional, or a Pollyanna to say it wasn't always this way? It wasn't always like this. That where I sit now in this beautiful place, I stayed for so long that some say this land is the last bit of Lemuria, this and Kauai and several other places. That the spirit of the mother, that Christ Sophia, this place, and humanity, this whole, whatever it is, shape, place we live on, were original, pure, divine centers of learning, awareness, growth, expansion, and empowerment. And the Pollyanna dream of the hijacked Elena Denon is the future would be this planet, would be the place to come to learn, the multiverse, the free college, it's a beautiful dream. The centers of learning, awareness, growth, expansion, and empowerment but then it was turned into soul-sucking, energy harvesting, memory wipe, suck fest. I don't know how many decades the United States college system had before, as Christopher Hitchens reported on in his fat book, which I skimmed through, The Great Mistake, the broken pencil on the front, and with over 300 student and teacher researchers, mostly from the University of California system, about how hijacked it is. I'm not certain. I'm not certain if, for example, that Benjamin Franklin was one of the first socialists, being that created the library system as we now know it now. Yeah, he was in the club. He was a deist or whatever. He was into all the stuff. But you know what? He had compassion and empathy because he knew how important it was to read, and poor people couldn't afford books in those days. So he created the library system so the poor could read. And anyways, so the intention there wasn't control, it was expansion of knowledge. So that to this day, it's all about the intention behind the organization as well as the individual. So it is easy to see why many thoughtful people think that this is only hell, because become anti-natalist, focus on escaping the trap, learn remote viewing, clear out karmic residues, give up attachment, focus on getting out and see the global spirits and bodies as only cages. The globe spirits and bodies are only cages. Because, most are fully possessed and puppeted by the archons and their mentally filthy tyrant would-be planetary warden proxies and at the certain controller sex, all of them. Who is more delusional and full of it? Keith the Puppet, Isabella Green, Wayne Bush, Joshua S. John, or Laura Eisenhower, David Icke, Michael Tellinger, or myself. I'm not certain which one of us is more off balance in one way or the other. So it's, you see, I never believe anyone 100%. Are they totally insane narcissist heroes with their heads up their asses thinking they can save humanity and rebuild the earth in a respectful way? Or is, John right in saying that, you should just focus on getting your ass out of here? If so, Josh, you were a social coward and unwitting agent of the dark side, because what if Passio's dream wasn't just a pipe dream, but like what if it's a possibility that, say, 20, 40, Lee claims it would have to be 51%. Say, what if it was 21% of humanity wakes up? Encouraging people just to exit is, to me, and from my perspective, is not healthy. However, a lot of what you say makes a lot of sense. Especially if this place is fully owned 100% by the hell know him loosher 4. And that's why I appreciate the content, because a lot of the guests and what you say makes a lot of sense. But I see it both ways, as I've said. The infrastructure and technology of hell on earth, it's here. It's the singularity is in our face. It's here. But it's helping too. It's helping me have these acoustic instruments when I don't have any acoustic instruments beside the melodeon. And so, the vast and intimidating, from the programmed selenite in the earth to the possessed and occupied stargates and ley lines, the massively successful dumbing down of us, the fully compliant masses of human sheep willing to police and herd themselves, like the new vigilante groups they're trying to form to get rid of people like me. The people herd themselves in an electronic fence cage. Hey, the devil, as rich as they are, could never pay back their debt for all the tortures of the last 1,000,000 years if they had to, right? They'd never have the energy to repay that, right? So all of the mental weaklings who, terrified, gave over their minds, bodies, and souls to their very captors, to all of the secret society controllers, all the levels in between, we see this possession. Yet there have been peace marches to Israel twice, I've noticed. Marches of all races to Netanyahu's house to demand an end to the war. Are humans now a species of moral imbeciles and loosh fountain cannon fodder? The more you learn, see, and know about what the masterful, well-organized fake gods have actually done to seemingly permanently enslave us, has led to this technology called Humans 2.0. It is easy to get depressed, want to give up, just escape, get massive anhedonia. But the thing is, how are you going to leave if you haven't done everything that you need to do here first? Whatever that is. Only you know. Desire to do nothing, sleep, get high, take welfare or food stamps, drop out, and generally focus on escape, But Josh, you were taking a massive amount of power and gifts. Are you taking a massive amount of power and gifts for granted? The comedy videos, and I think they're a great way of expressing it, but as weird as they can get. But what if we can plug our DNA back in? This is the question I pose to all the antinatalists, or the people that refuse to think about, the people that are giving up on the earth and their own bodies and the idea that any of it's any good. Just because this fallen, masterful geneticist demiurge brought lions and tigers and mosquitoes and made us have to eat cholesterol. What if we admit, in Massey, am I a Pollyanna? Am I ridiculously, pathetically optimistic to say these things? What do you people think? Let me know. Give me some comments. What do you think? What if we admit in Massey that the entire New World Order, all armies, all physical weapons, all fear-based activity is stolen power. Boy, you know, I felt it when I was in Gulfport. And every single day I'm riding my bicycle, and they're training these Air Force pilots how to fly these killer fighter jets with big bombs on the front of them. And this thing shakes the ground and makes a noise so loud I have to put my fingers in my ears. And sometimes they would swoop 10 feet above my head on purpose. And the whole thing is like, wow, yeah, the imposter god can really kill us all, physically kill us with these impressive, and they came with these columns. As soon as they stole the riches from the natives and all the places they conquered, and to create the mission system on the coast of California, for example, well, they plundered all those riches. They're all underneath the Vatican. So, can we see the bigger picture looking back for enough to see that, yes, even though the devils did an amazing job taking most of this beauty for its morally pathetic, chomping black hole, it was all stolen under duress. That's right. The false creator gods did a brilliant job in terrifying us all through all the things they did. The trauma-based mind control of fake informed consent, for example, is a huge prevalent part of the whole last million years, convincing us that they had the rights to circumvent or step around the law of non-interference and terribly interfere. Nothing in these current lives exemplifies this more than the grand mad scientist self-replicating nanotech and graphene dioxide attempted forced international experiment of transhumanism. As Event 201 revealed, the control agenda, and several years prior, and never made their false care and fake altruism believable because it was exposing itself. It did set up the desired social architecture into the established tyrannies for an attempted full-scale takedown, at least of normies, at least of the obedient, at least of the fearful, a forcing of us all into an extreme possibility, the probability, very strong, a position of disability and sterility and powerlessness if possible. But of course, it didn't work 100%. Some had awakenings, when they were forced to sit at their house or whatever, as a result of the devil. If the devil, that's what I thought that was for me. It was like, their last time to try to take everything. If the devil allowed, it was fully out in the open, which was the weirdest thing for me. So, if the devil allowed us a quick look at his plans 5 years ago and tried to make us lock ourselves into them, they also revealed some of the massively organized takeover scams. Some of it was so bad I can't talk about it here because I don't understand, man. It's like, this is exactly the reason why there's things I can't say right here, is why I felt the need to make this video. And put a question mark at the end of it, because I'm not sure. It's just in the short term, it seems to be true that there's no repercussions for these actions. So, but that's the short term. So, yet, as the devil has no heart, no self-respect, and no awareness of morality or decency at all, really. They lost it. They can't feel. They don't have any empathy. The policies just glaringly revealed their intents and their, moral and imbecility when it comes to love, their infantility. Will those who terraformed our skies into a geoengineered hell ever be caught and stopped? Well, they made it illegal in Tennessee, and the governor of Florida, and hired this man that just declared that they'll never force anyone to take a shot in Florida. So in some cases, it seems that legislation has served us in this. Forces, forces so responsible will be responsible for the who. So who will be responsible for all of the violence and evil ever be held accountable? So will the responsible forces for all the violence and evil ever be held accountable? This question's answer being a stark no in a person's mind might just glue them to focusing on escape, to choose to never trust, love, or serve other ensouled humans as much as if they were all just suckers for the suckers. But who are the biggest suckers? The loose-sucking vampire junior gods, and secondly, their Abrahamic and governmental followers. God is love, but the demands endless war. God demands we kill each other to prove he is the King Lord of this world. Okay? Why is it that these people in the Abrahamic religions never question these ideas that it's bad to kill? Who really sets up totally insane, inverted concepts like this here? I have given you the teachings of my most enlightened Anunnaki master, Christ Yeshua. Then I nailed his hands to a cross to give all of y'all get all of y'all terrified and coerced, obedient mind control victims a reason to stay on your knees and beg your psychic and physical captors for forgiveness. Abrahamic religions and Catholicism have been greatly successful. Full-scale assaults on and takeovers of millions and millions of ensouled humans for over 2,000 years of actual psychic, psychological, or even physical or sexual terrorism. Because God is good, and you will burn in hell forever if you don't submit to my violence and my violation of your mind and body. Wow. Chosen ones, kings, tyrants, and government lords are so good, pure, and righteous. We must never question their fully imposed, filthy, tyrannical egregores, these concepts that we need to run wars and control each other against their will and be violent towards each other. Because God, the devil, the prince of the air, rules over us all here, correct? Question mark. What happens if you question, or worse yet, demand accountability from the powerful forces of darkness that circumvent, corral, and kill or poke us into performing their soul-sucking marionette activities in the loosh farm in 2020? In 2020, Laura Eisenhower, the president's great-granddaughter, made a little YouTube video threatening the New World Order dark side elites that if they went according to plans, they would be punished. By whom? By whom? Sophia? Was she threatening them with violence, or she meant that the law of karma, the Christ, was going to destroy the white hats were going to come after them? Is that a key reason why her YouTube channel was deleted soon after? If filthy evil devil worshippers are judges, if the CFR members have the reins of control to governments and commercial industries, which they often do, can they orchestrate a lockdown and execute a takeover even when at least 20% of us are aware of the Hegelian dialectic behind it? Can the evil ones keep repeating the same psychological trauma-based planetary scams and have the same old fear-based tricks work in perpetuity forever? Do my shadow banned videos just render me a hidden martyr? What if I verbally abuse the concept? Martyrs most often cause people to stop rebelling and toe the lines of our fake matrix slave-based inverted narratives given to us by our evil ET captors who insist we get on our knees and suck it or obey them or be their farm animals. All my heroes were killed for telling everyone the truth. My musical heroes and some of my speaker heroes. So I must be terrified out of it as well, right? It seems as their reasoning. You know, that's what they think. That's what they want to coerce. So, you know, we can never allow the majority to ever know they are memory wiped human farm animals, usually with little to no free will. Again, the scam demiurge exemplifies and put the plans out on the table for all with discerning eyes to see. The lawyer and medical doctor Rainer Fuhlmitz was going to retire after winning a huge lawsuit against Volkswagen, but the forced lockdowns didn't sit well with him. So he tried to sue the World Economic Forum and the World Health Organization or those responsible in a world court lawsuit. First of all, I'm uncertain if he even found a court that would allow him to to confront them, that this thing would really go through with it. In the gambling casinos, there is a saying, the dealer always wins. Looking at our corrupted courts, criminals, justice system, it sure seems that there is no way to get at the dealers. If the devil created the matrix, so to speak, of course, he'll never be caught by it. Conversely, actually, most often, it will go after the individual who demanded real, transparent truth. That is the real reason for the death of JFK. He was about to tell us all the truth about the CIA and the Greys. Of course, John Lennon and Bob Marley told the spiritual truth to everyone, that we are really all one being. Way too much for the controllers, making beautiful songs about it that became catchy hits. So, the idea was repeatedly seeded into our collective unconscious and subconscious brain in the 20th century. Become a popular music artist or speaker with real oneness, awareness, consciousness, and you'll be shot. That's how much the devil hates that. Would a narcissist ever be held accountable for their behavior? Will they ever say, I apologize, I'm going to be respectful now, or attempt to be better? So, what happened to Rainer Fuhlmitz? It's really depressing considering how much the devil owns physically and spiritually on this property that he thinks of as his farm. Just like a local city councilman, Drew Glover, and I went to a city council meeting when he was there, and I saw it firsthand. He tried to bring transparency and accountability into the Santa Cruz City Council chamber. How dare he do that? he became an abuser, a verbal abuser, and he got thrown out of town. Fuel Mitch had to be thrown out of city council, but he moved to Alabama. He was from Santa Cruz. Fuel Mitch had to be framed, attacked, and taken out of power. And the way they did it is two young. He hired these two young infiltrators to be put in charge of his financial backing for the huge endeavor of suing the wealthiest beings on the planet, the highest on-planet representatives of the devil, so to speak. So they locked Rainer Fuel Mitch up before he could even really begin the proceedings. So does that answer the question and the title of this video? I'm not sure how far he got with it, because I haven't checked it recently, but the information seems to be hidden, or they might have terrified him into giving up, just like they terrified David Wilcock into not doing a 0-point car tech company yet. As the devil, the live backwards, inverted, illuminated nasties control the mainstream media, the governments, the SDC, it is most likely the majority of us will never know the results of any repercussions that any high-ranking emissaries of the fallen ones have had to go through. We know someone lost their marriage in the middle of, after they were part of the forcing everyone to stay at home. And when we saw George Soros, I saw this 3-minute network news clip where he says they ought to make what I do illegal. I destroy the economy of small countries and take over them. So when he funded the Black Lives Matters and the Antifa, and then it's very interesting. But then he funded the legalization of cannabis in California movements. So it's very interesting to see where these representatives of the club put their money. See, so can you be intelligent without heart? The devil is a master of terrifying, coercive mind control and keeping us stuck. Even in cases like George Soros, where they say what I do should be illegal, no one is able to stop them. But because they live in the alternate reality where they are so close to God, they never have any repercussions. As hard as it is to imagine, never forget. These masters of deception have no heart, only a sucking black hole in their chest. Yes, this place was repurposed into a loosh fest hell realm. What can you do? Learn to discern the devil within your mind. Spend some duration of your existence in nature in a place such as this, that's in the glorious forest or by the ocean, where you can get back in touch with the original, the freed original version of this place in your spirit. If you cannot fully kick him out of there, hold the devil within you accountable. If you can't do the shadow work necessary to ascend or to heal, to become one, to become real to the great self, then you must, at least, if you have any thoughts in your head that he allows still, that he created still, the sick devil's thoughts, hold them accountable. Don't cause any harm to anyone else or yourself, ideally, because the more that to say that any way that you agree with the fallen angelic thoughts, then just at least hold yourself accountable. The devil within you, your shadow. The more you tighten it up, the more you have self-respect, self-love, discernment, the greater strength you'll have over your subconscious. And so, do the shadow work. Face the parts of yourself that are sick, inverted. And controlling or filthy sucking narcissistic parasites. I know it's much easier said than done, but the real truth is in there. Taking your power back from religion, squad violence, and dogma, destroying your false self by removing your mind's shackles, unquestioning obedience to lies, tyranny, and the matrix controller grid itself. Sooner or later, if you do the inner work, you'll recognize as vastly powerful as the lived backwards forces of forced darkness, smallness, loneliness, and abuse are. We are really and actually based in nothing but killing, lies, torture, coercion, and all of the taking was done under massive duress. As the hijacked version of this place is a big matrix hologram program. Admit and accept deeply in your heart of hearts. As much as physical pain, suffering, slavery, torture, war, and harm are real and really evil for the vast majority undergoing them, they are based in nothing real. Most often just archonic deception. They can pollute and spray and get me sick, but they'll never admit I am not a disease. I am a divine being or a fraction of one, a ray of the light of one. Martin Taylor with Stefan Grappelli. If you are really willing and able to hold the devil within you accountable, if you can't fully kick him out of there yet, you're not ready to do that shadow work, and then do actions to serve others' awakening, might you best choice, if you really, really love this place, nature, and your spirit. Maybe you can work on the One Small Town initiative. Florida's answer to this question of holding the devil accountable is, as I say, DeSantis hired this guy named Joseph Lopado as the Florida Surgeon General, and he just outlawed the forcing of shots. Sure, it will be a massive amount of cleanup work and rebuilding in a respectful way, but 3 hours of forced work a week in the One Small Town initiative is all you have to you do for all your needs. That seems to be a balanced trade. You work 3 hours of hard labor for all of your needs every week, every strong. How do prisoners hold the CEO of their jail accountable? If there's millions, if we're in a massive prison with millions of prisoners and we have an invisible warden, or even if they're visible, how do you hold them accountable? When the chief jailer Lucifer Ford tricked and lied to trap us into this jail, psychological prison, the mind control, and slavery. Look closer and see. Not simply just evil, but the unfathomable good of Christ Sophia in nature and real humans' kindness, the ones that are still human when they're kind. Whether you follow John Lash or Michael Tellinger, facing the extremely arduous work of building a real world here and now in their face, or actually really just simply getting right so to speak, with the real creator, Christ Sophia. Each solar fragment or aware light, essence being in a flesh suit, can participate in the reestablishment of real oneness, the real age of enlightenment beginning here. The rebuilding of an actual good human civilization. I mean, Tellinger knows a lot of the truth about the evil, but he's just going to try to build respect. He's just building respectful towns on the, in their face, not fighting against them, creating another reality that's respectful. I mean, perhaps it is. I'm not, I haven't gotten that far into it. For the first time in thousands of years, thereby escaping the Bible-prescribed self-destruction no eons ago, before the Anu got here, Sophia gave us free will, and she can never interfere with your free will. She's not that way. You can be a person involved with holding the devil accountable by kicking him out of your mind as much as possible. How does the saying go? I don't take or give shit. The devil's in the detail, and you just learn to discern the details really clear and remember that saying. You're responsible for your spirit, not just renting your stuff and body. Stretching your responsibility, the responsibility for your own awareness. How far will you go? How high can you fly? Realizing the vast majority of the devil's tricks are based in mental cages and inverted concepts. We see the devil's human proxy constantly breaking cosmic law, the law of non-interference. Eventually you'll accept that the devil will never be held accountable, as he always projects his filthy ways into our minds with the archons, with all their technology and infrastructure, and then guilt trips us into feeling responsible, not just in the afterlife, but obviously all the time in this life, all the timeless now, unless we clear all these infrastructures out of here. While Christ Sophia is always within, blameless and respectful. The revelation of the lie, the afterlife shaming, the whole BS shebang is unaccountable and impossibly hidden. Knowing this, knowing you don't have to obey liars, but purge them, what will you become responsible for? Obedience is fake morality. Sovereignty is really moral. What accountability will you have when you see a fraction of how false accountants and forced materialism actually is, and how dumbed down the devil has actually rendered us? Then you slowly become free and begin to account for yourself and get rid of the tyranny in the one place it can mostly be cleared out. And that, my friends, is within your own mind and even afterlife, if you are really strong. And you know what? If you haven't clicked the subscribe and the notification bell or follow me, if this gets deleted by that place, and follow me for more. Of course, if you have the courage in your own little beautiful neck of the forest, and it's a beautiful day, even when it's sprayed, create a great one, my family.